Hey kiddo, I'm gonna do another semantically speaking video here. Again, one of my favorite things to do is to I'll start noticing a word and something about it seems off in the way we use it culturally, and then I'll look up the definition and I'll just think, something seems off or we're not using it right, and I'll spend years quite often kind of going over in my head, we usually use it like this. Again, like when I went over bravery and courage in the other video, to point out, like, we'll usually use, I noticed, even though they seem to mean the same thing, more often than not we would use bravery when it came to physical acts of being afraid of something, as opposed to courage was more just standing up against something. So the word that I'm going to go over right now is a pet peeve of mine, how we use it in our culture, which is the word to be proud of something. And it just, yeah, I mean, I don't grit my teeth or anything when I hear it now, but I suppose it also depends on the situation. And again, if you ask somebody what does to be proud of someone, or to be proud of yourself, what does it mean? No one's given a very clear answer, to feel good that someone has achieved something. But I think we know, once it means to be proud is to feel good of something that you have accomplished. So hence, I find it irritating when I've seen it in person. I've seen people say or write online where someone has lost a perfect stranger has done something admirable. They've lost weight, they've quit smoking, they've quit drinking, they've accomplished something, and a complete stranger will say, "I'm so proud of you," and I'm just like, no, it's not possible. And then, so hence, I've already said the word that I think we should be using instead. And notice that this word is practically never used, which is admire. We should say admire. I really admire you. Wow, that's an incredible. That's hard. It's not easy to do. Most people can't do that. I know how hard that is. You do not hear this word anymore, though we all know what it means. Now, a few thoughts on this. What I notice, again, a pattern. Typically looking for a pattern in things, because then that'll tell you kind of what's going on here. But the pattern I notice when we misuse words, not just proud, but other words as well, which I'll have other semantically speaking videos dedicated to those. We take more credit, or we take credit at all, but we take more credit than we deserve. So we have a culture right now that wants to either get more credit than we deserve, or to get out of responsibilities, and hence we'll use words that way. And again, I'll have a video dedicated to those kind of words. So when I say someone is, I'm really proud of you for losing that weight, I'm gleaning a little bit of credit off of them, and I'm certainly not giving them the full credit that they should be getting. When I should say, man, I really admire that you did that. That completely gives them the full credit, and we don't want to do that. The other thing about proud I noticed is, been training you in basketball since roughly 5 years old. And so when you were, 8 or 9? And you were playing in the, every weekend for like 8 weeks, we played at the American schools leagues. And I remember driving there, and you're on the back, and you're just there to play, and of course they have all the rules set up to keep everybody mediocre, like the 2-bucket rule. One person can score 2 in a row, and then someone else on the team has to score before that person can score again, sort of rules. But I felt proud. I mean, it's literally the only time that I have felt pride, because you were clearly the best player on the court. Now, with that said, because no other kid had spent any time practicing at all, so no other parents had done anything, and hence the 2-bucket rule, making sure everybody stays mediocre. But nonetheless, You were clearly the best kid on the court, and it was because you were skilled, not because you were more athletic or taller than anybody else out there. And I felt real pride. It's the only time in my life I have felt real pride. And I'll compare that to when your mother and I were married, and I spent 2 years preparing to surprise her for our 10-year anniversary by playing, the song on the piano at a restaurant on a Friday night in front of many other strangers. I went through a lot of effort, a lot of time. It is easily one of the hardest things most dedicated things I've ever done. And I can tell you, when I finally finished playing that, and I knew that 2 years of well, to some extent, suffering was over, I did not feel 1 ounce of pride. And I can't think of anything more you could do than something like that, and should be proud about. I can just tell you, I felt pure relief. I was just done. And I think there's also a mindset with some people, is that I suspect this. I think we tell ourselves, our culture tells us to feel proud when you have accomplished something for yourself, quit smoking, losing weight, that you should feel pride. I suspect we actually don't. It's just that we're told to feel that, so we think we feel it. What I think, pride only actually what we honestly feel, if we could cut in and see inside of it, we only really feel true pride when we have helped somebody else do something. That's when we feel true pride. Because I'm just basing off myself, but time and time again, when I find out what other people are thinking or feeling, we're thinking and feeling the same thing. So I trust that if I'm feeling it, if I'm thinking it, a very large portion of the population is also feeling and doing and thinking the same thing. But I think that's important, that we feel pride when helping somebody else. This is how we're social animals. This is how we're built to work together. So it's not based on what you do for yourself, it's what you do for other people. I haven't talked about my core belief so far, but well, it is that the only thing that truly matters is how you affect other people. And that kind of comes down to that pride thing. I feel proud when I help somebody else. It feels really good. What I do think we need a word. I do feel this when I have done something that I want to be admired by other people. We don't have a word for that. I might do something in sports, or in anything. We all feel this, that we want someone to point out, we want someone to say good job, or wow, that's really great. We want to be admired. We don't have a word for that, and I think we need a word there. So instead of saying so when someone says I feel proud of myself, I think they're really subconsciously saying they want to be admired for what they've just done or what they have done. Anyways, we need a word for that. And I try to recognize when other people have done something, and I'll go out of my way to say, hey, good job, and I will use the word admire, really admire that in other people. But that's this word for the subject of to have pride or to feel proud. Mind you, to have pride in just yourself and how you look and taking care of yourself, that's a different thing. But I think you'll know what I'm talking about when it comes to this, and I hope you are very mindful of when you use this word. It means something. All right, kiddo. Until the next one, I'll see you.